Self-love and self-confidence, they are two different things. Yes, they do go hand in hand, but they also exist very, very single. And it's important that you realize the difference between, because so many times you'll say, I'm looking for self-confidence or self-love or self-acceptance, self-fill in the blank. So let's chat about it today. Welcome to episode 46 of the Positivity Experience, self-confidence versus self-love. Check it out. Hey everybody, and welcome back to episode 46. It's your girl Lori, and it is Thanksgiving week, which in my world, and I guess in my practice, every day is Thanksgiving, and every week is Thanksgiving week. I guess I'm just the person who thinks, you know what, just because it's a random Thursday here in the U.S. and we're all going to get together, I feel like, you know what, if you love people, you're going to love them, you're going to be thankful for them all the time. So even if you're not doing anything special, because I'm not doing anything super special either, know that it's just a day. Give thanks not just for other people, but also for yourself. Give thanks to yourself for yourself. And that's going to go into today's topic, which is self-confidence and self-love. And there's going to be a lot to do with self here. And if you follow any of my stuff on TikTok, or if we've done any sessions together, or you watch me or you know me in real life for 5 minutes, you're going to know that really empowering people to take ownership of their own lives and their own happiness, for lack of a better term. I hate the word happy, and I use it all the time. It's not because I hate the word happy. It's like saying a hat. Well, there's 80,000 different kinds of hats, or a pair of sneakers. You're like, well, what kind of sneakers? Nike, Adidas? So a happy goes relatively different for most people, but it does have some general overall template, so to speak, right? So the difference between self-confidence and self-love is, think of confidence. Think of the word confidence in general. So when you're confident in something, let's say you know how to sew and you're really good at sewing. And you might not think you're good at anything else. But if somebody says, hey, can you sew these jeans for me? You think, oh, you better believe I can. Oh, I'm going to take this and that'd be the best sew job you've ever had. Well, there's self-confidence in it. So don't get it confused when you think you have to be self-confident all the way across the board for everything that you're doing, because that's not necessarily the case. And self-confidence, if you say to yourself, well, when I was growing up, people told me I couldn't do anything right, or I wasn't good enough, or, whatever the case may be, which can tear down your self-confidence. Yes, self-love, but definitely self-confidence. Because you're told, oh my God, if I load the dishwasher wrong, which I got to tell you is a massive pet peeve for me, when people get all bossy with their dishwasher, like, you must put the dishes in this way. No, that's not the thing. Nope. They wash the dishes the same way they are. So if you're all crabby about your dishwasher, check yourself, because I get it. You like it done a certain way, it's okay, but it's not the way. So keep that in mind. And that's going to come into play when we start talking about self-love, self-confidence, and an overall healthy lifestyle with yourself, right? Because that's essentially what this is all about you today. And understanding that when you are self-confident, it doesn't just happen. So even if you were fostered through your entire childhood with positivity, like, oh my God, you can do anything. A lot of people are. Believe it or not, some people are. I mean, I don't know a lot of people like this, but I do know them. Some people had very encouraging childhoods, but yet they're still extremely insecure with certain things because of their self and the way that maybe society tells them that they have to do something, or fill in the blank. Because if you think about it, think about the world we live in right now. You're listening to me talk on what is called a podcast. Okay. 10 years ago, we didn't have podcasts. If we did, wouldn't have even listened to them probably. You turn on YouTube, you can figure out how to do anything. You turn on social media, you can talk to people in 500,000 miles away from you, right? So think about this level of, what's the word I'm thinking of? Like overstimulation. Think about how much overstimulation you get every single day. If you just wake up and you grab your phone, you've already stimulated your day. And then you're looking, you're like, oh my God, they've already got their Christmas decorations up. Oh my God, they already started their diet plan. Well, what's wrong with me? Well, why are you comparing yourself? So self-confidence is going to come. I'm going to lame it down a little bit because I can get really technical with it, and that's nauseating. But when you are self-confident, confidence knowing you're good at something. I don't care if you say I'm the best baker, whatever, you're confident in it. Okay. Now, a lot of times people will say, okay, well, I want to get self-confident. Like, what's the start? Does it get self-confident? Is to do the things that you fear the most, right? This is where exposure therapy for me is like, it's one of my most favorite things with my clients, but also with myself personally. If I'm afraid of it, I'm going to go do it. Like, let's bang this out, right? And it's so important that you understand that you're not going to get self-confident until you keep doing something. It's not like you're like, okay, I am confident. I am going to go to school and I'm going to be so good at school. Great. That's an amazing goal. But are you really confident in it? Because you don't know what's going to lay in front of you. So self-confidence is knowing what confidence is knowing you're good at something externally. I'm very confident, right? Now, self-confidence, I'm going to talk to you about that in a second. But I'm saying, like, if you're like, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm confident in my job, right? So if you're confident, you know you do something good. Doesn't matter what anybody else thinks that you do good. It's what you think you do good. So that's going to come into play, especially if you've had some levels of trauma, by doing it when you feel the least confident. There isn't necessarily this big magic pill that you're just going to take, and all of a sudden, all this confidence is just going to come flying out of the sky. No, you gain confidence by being repetitive. If you are driving, right? If you're a driver and you're driving your car, let's say you've driven your car for 5-6 years now, you're a heck of a lot more confident than you were when you first started driving. Remember when you first started driving, you white knuckled the steering wheel, you went a little slower or maybe a little too fast, and somebody would try to, merge in and you'd be like, oh my God, they're going to run me off the road. Remember how much lack of confidence you had then? Now, fast forward ahead 5 years later, you're driving, you leave your job, you blink your eyes, you're at home, and you think, how the hell did I get here? Because now you're confident in your driving. I mean, now some of you are, because some of you have driving anxiety, and that's where you want to definitely, make sure that you are addressing that, because it's okay to not be confident in something. It is, but it's not okay to not try it. If you want to grow, if you're comfortable where you are and you're fine, then you're fine. But confidence also comes from understanding that even if you mess it up, even if you fail, for lack of a better term, even if you stumble and fall, it's perfectly fine, because you'll get up, you'll dust it off, you'll see what works and what didn't work. That's how you build self-confidence. And every time you do something, the more you do it, the better you get at it. Right? The first time you drew, the first time you held a fork, the first time you walked as an infant, the first of anything, the first 10 of anything can be petrifying. And quite honestly, not even effective. A lot of times you'll fail right from the door, but it's how you get up from it. It's confident knowing that at the end of the day, regardless of what the outcome is, you will be okay. So that's self-confidence. Now, self-love. Let's chat about self-love. Self-love is knowing that even if I don't feel that I contribute anything amazing, self-confident wise, I'm good enough the way I am. And good enough has to be defined by you. What is enough? Because that's not a universal thing. It's not like, hey, this is what enough is in your personal relationship with yourself. No, that's going to be defined by you. So very often when you walk around saying I'm not enough, you don't even know what enough is. You haven't even defined it for yourself. You've been told what you think enough is, but this is important for you to go and start to reflect what is important for you by you, not for you with other people in your life, for you by you. And this becomes the scary part of why people don't want to sort of break that fawn cycle, the people-pleasing cycle, because people have said, I really want to, but I don't want to. And I'm like, okay, well, explain that to me. They're like, no, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of acting like this. I'm tired of being this way. But I'm also afraid of not being this way because I don't know how to not be this way. So that is a definition right there of wanting self-love, wanting self-confidence, and then letting the fear stand in your way. And remember, fear is false evidence appearing real. So keep that in mind. So you're going to fear even your self-love, right? Because think about that. Full self-love is knowing that you love all of you. This means your poor choices, your bad decisions, the crappy things that you did, the horrible things that you put your family through because you were being 18, I don't know, whatever it is, but you holding on to that becomes problematic. And if you become a serial apologizer, oh my God, stop it. Oh, I'm sorry I did this. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, fair. But you say it once. If you feel inclined, don't say it to make somebody happy now. If you don't feel you did anything wrong, there is zero to be apologizing for. You can say, hey, I'm sorry you feel that way. Not how I intended it. But you don't have to go into an in-depth thing. And that isn't just self-confidence. That is self-love. Because see, when you're over-explaining and you're doing all of these things and you're trying to get people to accept you, that is because you don't accept you. Because I've told you this before, right? Is people can only validate you and give you their approval when it aligns with them. So if it's something that they don't believe in, if it's something that doesn't resonate with them, they're not going to give you the approval. So now you have two choices. If you love yourself and you know that going to be, a pilot is your most favorite dream job now at 65 years old, whatever, right? Let's say this is your favorite job. And then everybody around you is like, oh my God, why would you do that? But yet everybody around you is afraid of flying. What do you think they're going to do? Oh my God, that's so good for you. I'm so glad you found, in the perfect world. Hey, if you call me and say you want to go be a stripper, I'm going to say, go do you and be the best stripper you've ever had. Because that's me, right? Because your actions aren't for me to be in control or judge ever, right? Now, if you come to me and you say, hey, what do you think about this? These are my thoughts. What do you think I should do? I'm going to ask you, okay, cool. Let's dissect it. What's your thought process with it? Like, what's the consideration, right? So I'm going to walk you through it, but I'm not going to volunteer that if you don't ask me. If you just say, I'm going to go be a stripper and you're very confident in it, I'm not going to be like, are you sure you want to do that? Why though? Why am I asking for, it's not me. I'm not going there right now. Not because I'm 50 years old. My boobs are down on my feet. I don't know what strip club would have me, but I would never nix it. I'd be like, I don't know, maybe. Right? Because I don't know. I've lived in this world and I've lived in traumatic situations to know never say what you couldn't or wouldn't do. Don't ever say that, because in my line of work, I can promise you there's a lot of things people have said and done that they never thought they could do it. A, maybe they had to. B, maybe it was a crime of passion. There's a lot of things that come into play. So before you look down your nose at somebody, you want to focus inward and say, why is their actions or all of this stuff a bother to me? Because if you have self-love, doesn't mean you don't have an opinion, right? I'm not asking you to vibe with it. Doesn't mean you don't have an opinion. You absolutely can have an opinion. No need to give it to them unless they ask you. Facts. That's a fact. You don't need to go running around throwing your 2 cents in down their throat because you don't like the fact that they're going to become a stripper unless they've even asked you. So self-love says, you know what? I love me, and I can only change the things that I can change for me. That's the acceptability feature. And when you have self-love, listen, this doesn't mean you're going to wake up every day and be farting glitter every day. Not going to happen. You're going to have shitty days. You're going to have shitty cycles. You might have 2 or 3 weeks of like this hard, heavy depression or anxiety. Yep, might happen. Good chance it will, especially if you struggle with depression and anxiety on a regular basis. Good chance it's going to happen, right? But that means you also love that part of you. You don't have to like that you have anxiety, but you do have to love you because you have anxiety. You're not broken. You're not a broken object. Only if you think you're a broken object. And if that's the case, self-love is not there. So think of the art of self-love as being able to look at somebody who's doing, for lack of a better term, better than you, or at least you think so. You'll be able to look at them and be confident for them. Be like, oh my God, I'm so happy for you. Now, you can pull inspiration. You can say, oh my God, that's cool. I wonder how they did that. Like, wow. Okay. So call them and ask them, say, oh my God, what did you do? Like, give me some tips. Why would you not utilize this? When you see people doing, like I said, for your opinion, better than you, why are you sitting there judging and saying, oh my God, look at me. What's wrong with me? Why don't you call them? Or research. Oh my God, how did this person go from 0 to nothing? It's like the author of Harry Potter, right? She was living in a car. Now she probably owns like 150,000 cars, right? But some people would not know that. Some people would only look and say, oh my God, look how rich she is. They wouldn't see like the glory and the story. They would just see the glory. They would just not see the story. And it's the same thing for yourself. You are trying to get everyone to buy in to who you are, both from a self-confidence perspective and a self-love perspective. And remember, the word self is solo, baby. Self is you. It's not selves. It's not like you and your husband are self. That's not a thing. Not a thing. And so getting clear with understanding that no one's responsibility is to make you happy, not even a little bit. This doesn't mean that as social creatures, as humans, we don't like and crave affection or attention or interaction with other human beings. Didn't say that. But if your sole purpose in life is to get all of these people to like you so you can feel better and feel like your people pleasing is really helping so many people, you will be lonely. You will not have self-love because everybody that you're doing stuff for, even though you say, oh, I don't really expect it in return, maybe that's true. But if they don't call you for your birthday, you're going to be like, oh my God, I feel so bad. Like, why do I always call people and they don't call me? Why are we here? Like, what? Not everybody is going to respond that way. And self-love will give you that ability to know the difference. So how do we work on that, right? So let's break that down. As mentioned before, with self-confidence, that's going to be you doing all of the things that you feel like, oh my God, maybe I want to start a new career. Maybe I want to leave the relationship. Maybe I want to start a new relationship. I'm afraid. Okay, you're allowed to be afraid. That's a normal human emotion, emotion, that sort of like apprehension. But what are you going to do with it? Are you going to let that stop you? Because in self-confidence, you will never be self-confident waiting for the time to be perfect. So think of one thing within reason. I'm not asking you to go uproot your whole entire life and be like, great, I'm going to be self-confident, sell my house, go live in Bermuda with a new pool boy and leave my whole family. I mean, hey, if that's you, do you, but that's not what I mean. You have to start in a baby step. So do something that is for yourself. So let's say tomorrow and going forward, remember 28 days makes a habit. 28, not 21, 28 days makes a habit. But this is everyday consistency. If you miss a day, it's fine. You're not failing. You just start your count over again, right? To make it a habit. So think of one thing. And how about you think of, I'm going to get up and I'm going to have a glass of water. Okay. I know you're going to be like, how's this self-confident? Just go with this. A glass of water in the morning before I have my coffee or my tea or whatever I have. I'm going to get up and have an 8-ounce glass of room temperature ice water, whatever you want, every single morning. Okay. And you're like, okay, well, isn't that discipline? Yeah, but it's also self-confidence. Because immediately some of you are probably like, oh my God, but that's going to be hard. Oh my God, I'll try. But I never succeed at everything I do. That is self-sabotage and the opposite of self-confidence. So self-confidence will come because you might say, God, every time I start something, I'm good for like 5 days and then I go right down the tubes, right? So your confidence is to shit, right? But in this case, if you say, instead of looking at it and go, oh my God, it's not going to happen. Let's say you don't make it the whole month. Let's say you make it 6 days. Well, it's 1 day more. Let's say you make it 3 days. That's okay. It's still 3 days that you wouldn't have had if you didn't start. But if you tell yourself, I can never complete anything. I can never finish anything. I can never finish okay, stop saying that. Stop saying can't and stop saying never. Stop it. That's never going to foster your self-confidence. So find one thing, the glass of water, try that, or make something your own every single day. Okay. Yes, it's self-discipline. Self-discipline comes with self-confidence and self-love, because if you have self-discipline, right, and you have self-love says you're going to keep a promise to yourself. See, when you love yourself, you'll keep the promise to you. If you say, and now listen, don't be black or white here. Don't be, oh my God, okay, I want to lose 50 pounds. I'm going to start tomorrow. I'm going to do 1,200 calories. First of all, you know that's not my jam. I don't like the 1,200 calorie diet for my clients. It's just me. But I just don't. So I don't want you to take this and go from black to white. There's 50 shades of gray. We need to pick like 8. Okay. And understanding that having that self-love is maintaining a promise to yourself. So you know how, let's say somebody said, hey, I need you to come over on blah, blah, blah and help me do blah, blah, blah. And you say, okay. And they go, okay, so you are going to come over, and you say yes. Okay. And let's say you do go over. That's you keeping your promise. But let's say it's you and you go, okay, I'm going to start, I don't know, vacuuming twice a week. And you do it for the first week and then you're like, screw it, I don't feel like doing it. Now listen, I got you. Remember, I'm ADHD, I have anxiety, I battle depression. I hear you. I validate you. Not every day is going to be a cakewalk. Okay. But also knowing that the moment you say, okay, I can't do this, I can't do that, that's a problem. That's where you go grab Mel Robbins' book, The 5-Second Rule, go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, launch. That means just get up. Just get up. And to know that you did that, that's going to build your confidence. To know, damn, I'm in a depression and I was able to get up and brush my teeth. I went back to sleep the rest of the day, but I still got up and brushed my teeth. Beautiful. So self-love understands, and self-confidence, but this is where they kind of blend, is understanding that it's not an overnight process. Is understanding this isn't a fast turnaround. This isn't, oh my God, I got to keep working on myself and keep growing and growing and growing without pausing and integrating some of this stuff that you're learning on the way. Self-love says it's okay to be patient. Self-love says, you know what? You deserve this journey because look at the journey you had getting here. Look at all that stuff that you survived and look how long that took you. So it's telling yourself that. It's allowing yourself to be okay with being patient with yourself, keeping a promise to yourself, knowing that your boundaries are not for other human beings to like or approve, not even in the least. But it's you knowing that you matter. And for so long, so many of you, I mean, it was for me for sure, right? Grew up thinking, God, be seen, not heard, speak when spoken to, blah, blah, blah. Like you weren't really relevant. And I mean, my dad was an alcoholic and it was super toxic and super like chaotic in the house. And so every day you didn't know what mood you're supposed to be in, what eggshells you were supposed to step on. You had to know, just like anybody else, if they've been through abuse in a long-term situation, somebody goes off the deep end and starts screaming and yelling, you do not engage. I'm not going to engage in this because you didn't know what was going to happen. That's going to break your confidence. That's going to break your self-love. However, you don't get to live in that trauma. You don't get to say, because of this trauma, I can't do fill in the blank. That's not a true statement. Now you can say, because of the trauma, which is the reason, this is going to be harder for me. This is going to be a little harder of a struggle and I'm going to really need some resources or I need additional help here. That's great. That's knowing that. And that's going to build self-confidence. Asking for help, not a weakness, not even a little bit. Trying to bum rush it and do it all by yourself because you think you have some big giant thing to prove. No. And being able to release grudges and release things that you can't control is a huge part of self-love and self-confidence because you say, my self-love says to me, my ego tells me it's okay that you're different from me. I don't have to understand it. I don't have to vibe with it, but I don't have to understand it. Ego, on the other hand, and when you don't have self-love, say you think you do, you're like, I love myself. I would never do that. The moment that you start judging somebody else, that's a problem. Your judgment of somebody else is a reflection of you. So if you're judgy McJudgy pants, and you're walking around judging the world, okay? Remember, there's 3 things that you have control over there. You can walk away, right? If not everything's going to happen that way, but like walking away, removing yourself from the situation, blocking things on social media, right? Like blocking it, removing yourself. Second thing is change it, right? If you can't change another person's actions, number 1, you should never want to. So the first and foremost is understanding why the hell do you want to change somebody's actions to make you more comfortable? Because it's not your life. Okay. So you gotta get clear with that. Because when you do that, that is love. That's saying, I am okay. I don't have to love it, but I know that these people aren't me and they don't have to be. And you're confident in that because of your self-love. You're confident in knowing it's okay that I need to be by my lonesome. Yeah, that is a thing, but I realized I sound like I was like 1943. When you're by yourself for a while, maybe that's what you need. See, you get so busy filling your lives with other things, social media, movies, TV, friends, radio, music, which we love. Listen, it's healthy in moderation. It's very healthy. And they're great to use as coping strategies as needed, but not all the time. You can't just be miserable and say, okay, I'm going to go fill my void by going and hanging out at the bar with my girlfriends. Some days, yeah, not all the time. That can't be repetitive. And when you have self-love, you know that. So here is a good practice that I want you to do. So go grab your paper. If you're driving, which sometimes you are, start at like 25 minutes. Just fast forward ahead when you get home so you're not trying to write this down or remember it. You don't have to. And I want you to say to yourself, okay, and now this has to be pen to paper. Don't be doing it in your head while we're talking about it. Just kind of mark this down for a note because I want you to sit with it and really think about this, okay? I want you to say, what does self-love mean to me? I know it sounds silly, but just get with this. What does self-love mean to me? Not what do other people think about me? This is zero to do with any other breathing human being. Zero. All self here. This is all about you. This is a self-reflection work. A little bit of inner child shadow work type thing. Okay? So I want you to ask yourself, with self-love, what do I think self-love is for me, by me? Okay? And then I want you to kind of take that down even into another step. Do that step first, though. Don't be jumping ahead. Don't be jumping ahead of the class here. Okay? And once you get that down, ask yourself this question. Why am I stopping myself from loving myself? Why are you stopping yourself from loving yourself? Okay? Now, seriously, but I need you to get really honest with this with yourself. So let's say you say, well, if I love myself, that means I'm going to have to cut myself off for some family, and I don't know that I'm ready for that. Okay, that's an honest answer. But then ask yourself, what are you waiting for? Because you're never going to be ready. It's not going to be like, okay, well, I don't want to do this yet because I'm not ready. Okay, you can do it after Christmas? Okay, good. Then what? Oh, then it's the holiday. Oh, then it's winter. Then it's, we usually do vacation. Now we're here 5 years later, and you're still going, I don't know. Okay, so... But self-love says you deserve to take the bull by the horns here. Okay? So, and self-confidence plays a hand in this and says, okay, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but screw it. I'm going to do it. Here we go. That's how you will build your self-confidence. That's how I had to build mine. Oh my God, I had zero confidence growing up as a child. Zero. Like if we could minus self-confidence, that's where I would have lived for many years. Completely opposite of where I am today. But it took time, it took patience, it took education, it took repetitiveness, and I still have my bouts of anxieties and depressions and ADHDs and OCDs. It's going to happen. So understand that when you're doing this self-love exercise, you have to be honest with yourself. Don't just put stuff down on this paper that you think you should put there. This is an honest engine kind of, we need to all be in the trust tree here. Because nobody's going to know this but you, because you're the only one see it. So this is a place where we need to be in the trust tree. Okay, so I need you to understand that when you are honest with yourself in this exercise, that's you already doing self-love. Don't try to look at it and try to negate it and try to make it less than or try not to make it as dramatic or stop it. Stop. Right? So when you're asking yourself, at first you have to define what self-love is. And then you have to ask yourself, where is your resistance in giving yourself self-love? And do not tell me it's because when you were growing up, you didn't know how to love yourself. None of us did it who have had trauma. None of us did. And that's why I am having you define self-love first before I am this part of the project. Right? Because that's how we've all end up here. That's how we all end up in a space where you don't love yourself is from trauma. We know this. So you can't automatically put that down and be like, because of my traumas. Valid. That's a reason, but that borders into an excuse. Okay? Yes, it's a reason, but you want to be careful not fostering it into an excuse. So now go even deeper with that and say, where is my resistance to loving myself? Okay? Here's another thing that you'll say. Well, I don't know how. Exactly. That's why I have you define that first step of what self-love means to you. And then we micro goal it. Because first of all, you have to know why you're not self-loving yourself by obviously establishing what it is and then really getting honest with yourself and say, well, what is my concern? And the funny thing is with that, very often, even though you may be in super chaos right now, you know how to exist in chaos. And the thought of knowing you want to feel better and then not with self, I'm not talking about in the world, with self, better with self, self-love means, Well, I've never been there before. Or if I have, it's been a gajillion years. It's going to be different. What if what does it mean? What if I lose people? So what if you do? They're not your people. You're allowed to have fear. But that is your homework for the week. So remember, this is only going to be as good of an exercise as you are honest with yourself. You do not get to judge yourself. You don't get to say, oh, I hate this about me. Oh, I'm upset about this. No. We're not going down that rabbit hole. We're literally just saying, what does enough for yourself mean, right? And what is the fear of actually giving it to yourself? Ask yourself that question, because I'm going to tell you right now, you will only ever spend 100% of your entire life with yourself. So before you're worrying about getting everybody else to like and love you, you need to like and love yourself.